all right? You have your proof of relevance, you've defined what the value proposition is and what your roadmap and development map is going to look like. And so now you have to secure this funding. So to do that, you do want to assemble this pitch deck, which is now informed with the last three things we talked about. And you want a variety of pitch decks on your computer. You definitely want one that is the short deck. That would be, it's a primer and should not have much confidential information in there, because the idea is when you want to first pitch it to a VC or have something to talk about, you don't want the barrier to be high. You don't want to have to sign confidentiality agreements, etc. You want to first decide, give them enough, it's a, like a teaser, with enough information for them to say, yeah, we're interested, we want to know more. And then you would sign a CDA. You'd have a longer deck, a slide deck that actually tells your story, gives some detail, give all the relevance you need to convince them of what the roadmap's going to look like, what the value proposition is going to look like. All right? And I think rule of thumb, Rez said, if you want to think a short slide deck, under 10 slides. Okay? And the long slide deck, that just depends on the story you're trying to tell. All right, so the next step is then you want to match the opportunity, whether it's a device that's early stage, what kind of market it's going to address, is it niche? So the opportunity and the stage of development with the right investors, right? And in this area, again, there are investor VC groups that we work with, like Third Rock, Atlas, what else am I missing? Flagship. They really work in what we define academic early stage opportunities, which would be they are more than a year from any kind of clinical space. Than the preclinical space, they're 1 to 5 years away from the clinic. Even in the early stage, what's late stage is when it's just less than a year to the clinic. So the different VC groups that focus on investing in different kind of opportunities. So once you've defined this, you want to go pitch it to that right set of VCs that are interested in that space. So this is where what Rez had mentioned earlier, you want to be aware of some easy money offer. You have an entrepreneur with some money who's put it, come to you, and now you've divided up and valued the company, and now when you really go to pitch to a sophisticated VC, it just is a bigger challenge as they're trying to reassess what was the value, why is the division of pre-money valuation, who's who. So you have to be careful of easy money because it's maybe less sophisticated and might end up getting, when you hit roadblocks, might get easily spooked. You might have gone down a certain path and now you're left stranded with an asset that doesn't have support to go down further. Whereas big VC firms, the more sophisticated investors, they will do bigger, more diligence, more questions asked, but then in the long run, they make better partners because they're in it, because they've done all the diligence. All right, so, it's not personal. They will do their diligence, so you need to be diligent and make sure that you're aware of and can anticipate what might be the weaknesses in your technology, weaknesses in the development plan roadmap that you've articulated, because especially the VCs, we talked about institutional VCs who do a lot of deals, who hear a lot of ideas and vet a lot of opportunities, they really will spot any inconsistency you have where you're fudging from where the technology gets from X to the development roadmap, either in terms of time and money it'll take, or gloss over some of the challenges, or talk about the challenges and then somehow still get to proof of concept in man in 2 years. You need it to be logical and be diligent about the story you're telling, right? And of course, they are going to invest in your opportunity, they're going to evaluate, they're going to give feedback. So be prepared that your plan might have to change a little bit to adapt to what feedback they're giving to actually secure that investment they want to make. All right, so I think at this point, we'll shift to the workshop, which is about a company that was founded in technology out of MGH and is a startup company that Rez is going to walk us through the case study, and hopefully as part of the case study where you play the role of VC in evaluating it, see if you can define what the proof of relevance is, what's the value proposition, how do you think about the company's operations that need to be built, and the investment.